And we're back.
Hello. Well, hello. GTR problems. Go.
Hey guys, time for some pre-spring maintenance. I was going through changing the fluids on the car, just draining the all-wheel drive fluid, the transfer case, the rear differential, and the front differential. I was checking over the car and noticed just a little bit of grease everywhere. See that little flapping thing right there? That's not supposed to be flapping. So today we're gonna be changing that out. And I'll show you guys a quick process of how we go about doing that. So to start off, we gotta take this little cotter pin out, take this little cover out, then we can get to the axle nut back here. So I'll put you guys aside so I can just show you what I'm doing here. There we go. Get that sucker out. Put it up to the side. Don't lose it. Get a little cover off. Now, I think this should be 36 millimeter. Let's see if this fits. It's pretty close. So what I usually like to do with this big impact gun is just kind of lay a towel right over it, because this thing is pretty dang strong. So I like having just a little bit of cushion before I do an attack this. Brace yourself up. There we go. Nice and easy. This is a little, look at that. Threads look okay. Ends also look okay. That's why I like using the little towel. Make sure, things are going good. I think there's supposed to be a washer here, but there's no washer there. Whatever. The guy before me probably forgot to put it back. Put that back here. Yeah. So that's out. Next, we're gonna be looking at. I'll tap the screen here. Right here. Been getting this little castle nut off, so I'm going to be peeling this back, get that out so I can separate the ball joint here, and I have a separator here as well, so I'll be tackling that next. And then after that we have that sway bar end link right here, the top nut that we'll take off. Put you aside here so you can see. Alright guys, just kind of keep a quick update. So got these two nuts off here underneath this traction arm. One here, one here. It's a little bit bigger than a 19. I used a 7/16 with a rag over it. I didn't have a 20 millimeter or 21. My guess is closer to 21 millimeter. And then on top of here, where I have this strap to, there's a castle nut. Looks like this little guy. It's got a little cotter pin on it, so you take the cotter pin out from here. It's the same size as that 7/8. I just used that with the rag. Put it on top here. Took the cotter pin out, unbolted that, so now I have this ball joint separator hooked up like so. And now I'm gonna try to spin this off, so I'll get you guys in a better position here to see. Let's see. Alright, attempt number 2 on this. Hopefully it goes through, but meantime I had loosened up the soy bearing link. Took it out. It's like 14 millimeter on the back side, 14 on the front. Took that out. I'm gonna crack loose these 2 joints here, right here. Crack that loose, so a little bit less tension here on this point. Hopefully we can get this little bad John out. So line you up. That way you guys can see the event. Holy shit. Alright. Finally. Look at that beauty. Woo! This is a blessing. This thing is freaking insane, holy. Next I'm gonna try to get that completely off the hinge so I can move it up and down a little bit more. Alright, I got half the axle. I came up by the spider gear, but I just used this, my back of my socket here, just to push out the axle after I got this tie rod out here. Not tie rod out, this traction or whatever this is called. I got this out. I didn't have to unbolt the top part. I don't think that's necessary. You can probably keep that bolted in. It's just easier if you just use the ball joint remover tool, pop that sucker out, and then what I did was I took my extension racket here, my breaker bar, shoved it right between the steering column and onto this, like right onto this chassis portion up here where my finger's pointing at. I don't know if you can see that, but I just was able to push down on it hard enough that I can remove that section to give me a little bit more extra room to pull that axle out, so I don't have to do any more disassembling here. Just made it a little bit easier for me. So I'll just clean up a little bit here, and I'll show you how to get that last piece out there. Alright, got the axle out finally. Show you a little bit of how I did it. So once I got this out, I just kind of yanked on this because it was just a little bit easier than trying to drop the axle down later to get this out, because there's a C-clip. Let me clean this up a little bit. There's a C-clip that holds this right there. You can kind of see it. Put some better lighting. There's a C-clip right there that's held in on this end down there. So it's just easier to kind of yank it out rather than take it out later. Then to get this last piece out, this is what sits inside of the front differential there. You can kind of see it, front diff right there. So I drained out the front diff. It kind of made it a little bit easier to knock it out once I had no fluid in there. I don't know if that actually does help or not. Maybe it just gave me a peace of mind. I was gonna change the front diff fluid anyways, but now I got that out. You can see there's like a little C-clip right here, like a holder. That's kind of what you have to knock out. So what I did was I got this little bad guy here, this file. I was hitting right here with a hammer on the end and kind of knocked it out. Let's see you can see my little mess I created there. But that was the best way I could get that out. I would just go underneath, show you how I did it. Shine the flashlight. So it'd be right underneath here. Just right here. I would just shoot from right there. I would shove the file through here and then hit it. I tried a few different things. I had a screwdriver, had a couple what's it called? I can't remember the name. Had a few of those. Tried hitting it. The file gave me the best clearance because it seemed to match that ring there pretty well. So now that's finally out. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up, and I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Hey guys, all right. So I'm gonna show you how I got these split. So what I did basically, since this is kind of sitting in here like so, like that. There's a C-clip right here can see that where my thumb is. Right there, that holds it in place there. So what I did was I got my vise ready, held it right like this, and I just the base easier to see. So what I did was I got it here, that top portion's on there, and I just dropped it, and it just let the top portion loose. So now I finally got that split up. So I'll clean this up a little bit, get some of that old grease out, and then the next step would be just waiting for the boots to come in. I believe they come in a couple days, so at least I can have all this ready. So you have to reassemble and throw it back in. It shouldn't be that much longer to do, but I'll give you a quick update once that comes in. Alright guys, a couple days later, finally got the axle boots in. So got this all cleaned up. Here's the inner part, here's the spider gear, goes inside of here like so, and then we got the outer here. So since this is all taken apart, it's pretty easy to put back together. We're gonna start here with this is the outer, so this is the inner. This is that's the part number in case you guys need it, right there. You can get this from Terra Firma, and this is the outer. I believe this part is it can be used on either a right hand side or a left hand side outer boot, but for the inner boot, I believe they have a specific one for right hand side or left hand side. This is one for the right hand, which is the driver's side of the car. So I'm gonna open these up. I'm gonna put you guys to the side real quick, open them up and kind of show you what everything looks like, what's all in it. I think it's a good angle. I think this would just be to replace this one. This one, I think it's an extra for your right here, this inner part, this inner axle. I think this is another one of the same, yeah, the same one. I think it's just extra pieces in case you need to replace it. I don't need to replace it. This sits inside of the differential anyways, so I think we're fine. This is just extra. Don't really need it. And this, I'm just gonna keep the original one that's on there. I don't see any reason to take it apart. Normally, if you're just doing just one boot, you would just take this apart and keep the other boot together. Since I'm doing both together, it doesn't really make sense to just replace that piece. So go ahead and start putting the boot on. Start from this side. Kind of show you guys. Okay, that is on there. Let's get this clamp on. It's like a little, its indent just looks just like this on this side. Just push it to the bottom as far as it can go. That's kind of what it looks like now. So I'm just gonna get this clip on, and then I'm gonna pack the grease in it. Look at that one's on there. Before we put this in there, let's do the smart choice of putting this ring behind here just in case. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter because I have this portion. So we can begin filling this up and filling some of this up. Luckily these just kind of go in. It's not really any fancy bit there, but I think I'm gonna, before I do that, I'm gonna lose my words here. Actually, I'm trying to decide if I want to put the top portion, because you gotta hit that with the hammer. So I'll get the other boot on real quick and show you how that's done. Now it's past the C-clip, just gotta slide it right here. tube for the inner, tube for the outer. Let's pack the outer first. Go. That seat clip, I'm probably not going to replace that one, that's fine. And as far as grease goes, pack it in here, on this end, and pack it inside of here. So, almost done here. Let me make sure you guys can still see. Not to get this camera dirty. Okay, we got half of the axle assembled. This is all done, it's packed up, it's buttoned down. Gotta make sure this one got this button down. We're gonna fill in grease right from the top. And we're gonna fill in some grease in here. So that's where the spider gear sits. Make sure it's all nice and lubed, you know. Can't go without being all nice and lubed. Bad things happen, a lot of friction, you know, not fun times. So what I'll do is I'll just put it back on the stand here, fill this up. I've got the second ring inside of here, or like so that way in case, for whatever reason, I can't bring it from the top, at least I can go up, put it on. Yeah, so let me pack this up, and I'll show you the finished product. Done. I'll show you here. Ooh, that stand. Getting old. But that is the completed axle. Put together. Nice and lubed up with fresh grease, fresh boots. Very exciting. We'll double check. Buttoned up. That is buttoned up. Buttoned up. And buttoned up. Cool. I'll check in with you guys as soon as I'm putting in the axle. Alright, just giving a quick update where I'm at. So, got everything reassembled. Just gotta connect the sway bar end link. Got the drive shaft pushed in. Everything looks good. It's aligned. Solid there. Looking at the... That's not a good angle. Let me switch hands, show you with light. Got the tie rod end back together. Not exactly the cleanest install. Might have to replace that at the end. I got this nut back on. I used all new cotter pins just to make sure that's good. I had to use a new clamp for the axle boot because the original one I had decided to snap, so it's all good to go. Sorry about that abrupt stop, but we got the whole axle put back together. I fixed that boot, it was a little concerning, but now it's good. There's no rips or anything. Got the castle nut all tightened up. Got it on there. I'm not sure what this is called. I think it's a traction arm. Got a new cotter pin on there as well. For this outer boot, I had to get a universal one. In case you guys do need a universal, this is what I got. Speedy boot. Seemed to do the job pretty well. It's kind of annoying to install it, but it seemed to do the job. It didn't crack like the other one, so that's good. Everything's on. Still a little bit of grease left over from the last time. Just double checking everything that I might have taken off. A good point to note. This. Show you like this. These two 19mm bolts on each side of the traction arm. You can just take those off instead of just pressing this joint off. It'll be a lot easier because you can just pull this out of the stud that's right there. Right here. You can pull it out of the stud, so that way you don't have to press it out. It makes it easier. You can just leave this be. You don't have to do that. I found that out afterwards because I was messing around with it trying to figure out an easier way. But it is definitely easier to put it back in through this rather compared to this top portion. I mean, you can do what you want, but that's another option if you want. Unbolt these two, 19 on each side. So now I'm just gonna straighten out the wheel, and then I will be putting the axle nut back on, making sure everything spins correctly,